Hello and welcome to yet another video. This is the second episode of the story, in which Naruto is kidnapped during Sasuke rescue mission and gets taken to Stars, later being raised by Darth Barris from Star Wars. Please like and subscribe to show your support. Let's get the show started.
Emotionless drones were by far the easiest to manipulate using the Force as their willpower was broken. They did not question it, they did not fight it, they were simply there. This was Darth Imperia's impression when he felt the Anbu Root enter the council room from the shadows. As such, the moment they took up positions behind Danzo Shimura to protect their master, he rendered them useless without so much as lifting a finger. Jason had been a slave since he was 3, raised by his poor mother in the palace of one of the foremost Sith scientist in the Empire. It was at age 6 that he began manifesting his abilities in the Force, and at 7 the scientist found out, began training him mostly in saber defensive combat and some light Force lightning techniques. Years later he apparently caught the eye of Lord Vash and been sent to Korriban. This had been a test to see if he was indeed the descendant of another Sith Lord named Khalik, which had turned out to be very true. What followed were harrowing escapes, lies and betrayals not only from his master but other higher-placed Dark Lords. Manipulations and deceit, but also kernels of love and companionship. Ashara had become his rock, slowly but gently nudging him away from the dark side. She had kept him sane and gave him the love he sorely missed. The moment he earned enough credibility, he went back to that Sith scientist and bought his mother from the man, then promptly freed her. Now his mother was here, or rather at the Whirlpool base, enjoying a nice restful retirement. Glancing at Danzo, the Sith sage felt the man was entirely too much like Darth Thanadon and boorish for his taste, justifying whatever action he made by saying it was for the good of the village when all it was for himself. What is good for me will be good for the village, because I am what's good for the village. Jason snorted to himself. No matter, the skin lusts for power were universal. I give the Empire another 2 centuries, at best 50 years at worst, or less. If Malgus leads it, I feel the Empire will last until he becomes one with the Force. The man knows how to balance things, takes only what is required and leaves everything else alone. The Inquisitor snorted in disgust at this and began to focus on the man's surface thoughts, knowing anyone this ambitious would be firing them non-stop. Danzo wondered what this impromptu meeting entailed. He barely had enough information to even begin any possible rebuttals if the need arises. The only thing he could possibly surmise that it had something to do with the strange craft that landed on the tower not more than an hour ago. Whoever was in the craft had given Tsunade information that, according to her scowl, was problematic at best and deadly to his plans at worst. What could it be? My dealings with Orochimaru. Kushina Uzumaki. Could they have found her? No, impossible, she's hidden. I will not lose my last card to play on the boy if the Sharingan fail. No sooner had he finished that line of thought, than entire room was bathed in an oppressive pressure 10 times worse than any killing intent imaginable. Slowly a figure emerged from the shadows, stalking towards, eyes glowing a sickly yellow, as the figure unclipped something from his belt. There was a snap hiss, and before the old cripple could move, a glowing purple-white blade entered his field of vision before it was abruptly cut off and he breathed no more. A split second before he revealed the location Kushina was being held in. Why did you jump the gun like that? Tsunade asked. The dark figure seemed to tense up. I have a question, Lady Tsunade. Who is Kushina Uzumaki? The woman's eyes widened and her hand went to her mouth. SCW was your mother. How did you find that out? The dark figure pulled back his hood and lowered his mask, glancing at Jasa. Jasa, I'm sending you a mental image. I want you to follow it. Take him with you. Ken, if you see any Anbu in that bunker with a blank mask, you do what you do best and enjoy yourself. The huge Hulk emerged from the shadows, frightening the Shinobi, civilian, and clan councils as he moved with a smaller feminine form moved with the Hulk. Naruto stood in the middle of the room, his emotions flickering, from rage, to anger, and then back. His yellow eyes gazing out over the 3 councils gathered. As his rage grew, so did the oppressive feeling. A second later 2 figures jumped out of the shadows, grabbing him. Stop, Naruto. Please calm down, Sakura whispered soothingly while Vet buried her face into his chest, whispering that she loved him, that everything was cool. I love you too, please Naruto, stop. The whisker-marked Sith slowly began to calm, eyes closing, taking deep breaths, basking in the warmth, being held by his 2 lovers while feeling Jasa gently caressing his mind with hers. My apologies, Lady Tsunade, I lost myself for a moment. He opened his eyes again and they were the traditional deep blue that most associated with him. The 2 girls gently let him go, but each took a hand. The Force reveals surface thoughts. Lady Tsunade and Danzo doomed himself by thinking of Naruto's mother. Jason appeared from the shadows as well, along with his wife. And you are? Tsume Inuzuka asked. Jason bowed. Jason's Auric at your esteemed service, This beautiful woman next to me is my wife Ashara, the rogue Truge bowed slightly. She's a bit shy, getting a light slap to his shoulder. But feisty. Tsunade frowned heavily for a moment before waving it off. Doesn't matter, Danzo would have been executed before the end of this meeting anyway. On what grounds? Homura asked. Treason. He conspired with Orochimaru to undermine the village. He actually helped plan the Sand/Sound invasion 4 years ago. He gave Orochimaru the Edo Tensei from our Forbidden Scroll, which was then used to bring my grandfather and granduncle back from the dead to kill the third Hokage. But that's by far not his worst act of treason. She paused as both Naruto and Sakura pulled Danzo's body into the light and stripped the bandages to reveal Sharingans embedded into the left arm. He used the blood of my grandfather and the Uchiha clan's Keki Genkai to produce this abomination. The fact that he has my mother's body was just the final nail in his coffin, Naruto growled. He searched the faces of each council member and found them all to be absolutely appalled at this discovery. Right now Kemval, that Hulk you guys saw, is tearing through the root underground headquarters and is going to erase that stain on this village's past. It's good to see you've returned from your training trip, Naruto, Tsume smiled. Though I didn't expect a weapon to equal that of the second Hokage Thunder Sword. Naruto clipped the purple lightsaber to his belt while pulling the other one out, and with snap hiss and orange-white blade appeared humming dangerously. It's called a lightsaber. The order in which these weapons are created for are much like the monks and our own shinobi forces. They are called Jedi and Sith, both use a spiritual power called the Force. I would go into more detail. Needless to say, one uses emotions, the other does not. The one that uses emotions mostly focuses on the worst emotions, anger, fear, greed, lust. While the other focuses on virtues like compassion, knowledge, serenity, justice. Have either sides used other emotions? Hiyashi asked. Naruto turned off his lightsaber, reclipping it to his belt. Only a few on both sides haven't are ostracized for it. Love has no place in either order. One considers it a weak emotion while the other feels it leads to attachment. Neither sounds very logical, Shibiabarame stated. True, only one among both their orders before me and Jason had ever embraced both sides of the Force, looking to bring it into balance. His name was Revan. He believed to be truly in tune with the Force you must embrace both sides. You must have both the emotions of the dark side and the virtues of the light to truly be one with the Force. Jason and I have embraced these teachings, the whisker-marked Sith stated, with Jason nodding with a smile. The same with Ashara. Wow, you've developed a lot more than we first expected when you disappeared 3 years ago, Naruto, Inoiki stated with a warm smile. Be happy to know then, that I still aim to be Hokage, Naruto chuckled, causing everyone in the room to follow. I also honored my promise to Sakura-chan and brought Sasuke back. This caused all the civilians' faces to brighten. Where is he, Naruto? One of the chief merchants in the council asked. He's at his clan compound, with a member of my clan that I found living under Orochimaru's nose. Naruto snorts in annoyance. I got a feeling that the Uchiha and Uzumaki clans will forever be joined if she has anything to say about it. Sakura gently smacked him on the arm. It's only fitting, after all he is your god brother. Details, I swear if that. Naruto was cut off by wrist communicator beeping. Jason, did you find my mother's body? He asked softly, pain in his voice. Yes, she's alive, my lord. Jason's voice was soft, filled with both hope and awe. What did you say? Naruto's voice started choking up. She's alive, Naruto, your mother is alive. Jason's voice also cracking, feeling his emotions through their Force bond. How is that possible? She couldn't have survived that night, Koharu stated. Naruto, not many know this, but your mother was the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, just like Mito Uzumaki Senju was before her. It's almost impossible for a Jinchuriki to live after the Bijou is ripped out of their host. You said almost. Is there a way to restore a person? Naruto asked. Homura nodded, frowning. Only the Chiyo of Suna would know such a jutsu though. Tsunade pursed her lips, thinking. She saw Naruto shifting on his feet. Go. With barely a nod, Naruto practically flew out of the council chambers. Sakura, Naruto shouted back, who was already moving to join her lover, knowing her medical expertise would be needed. Nico asked Sasuke if he can check his family's personal mission scrolls. Any that are highly suspicious I want brought to me. Only one clan could have pried the information out of Chiyo and not start a war, simply because she couldn't remember it. Someone in the Uchiha clan gave the means of returning Kushina to live after she was supposed to have died, and I want answers, Tsunade said firmly. The rest of the council all seemed to be looking grim. Why are we only figuring this out now? Simple, Lady Hokage. Naruto returned from his training and began to make ripples in the pond. The ripples revealed a piranha hidden in the pond, and now we simply have to kill the piranha to make the pond pristine again. Jason responded. Tsume licked her lips. "Tell me, Jason, is it?" she asked, getting a nod. "Would your wife be terribly put out if I arranged a marriage between you and my daughter?" "Yes, I would," Ashara stated, crossing her arms over her chest, giving the wild-looking woman a glare. Tsume waved her hands in retraction, chuckling. "Kidding, maybe. I would like to vouch for Naruto Uzumaki to give him the rank of Jonin." Mebuki Haruno spoke up, drawing everyone's attention. "You may have noticed in our brief interaction with him he had a commanding presence. I can vouch for his ability to lead and teach. Jasa has been his apprentice going on her 3rd year," Jason explained. "He is also in supreme command of a Sith Imperial garrison station in orbit around the planet." Shikaku frowned. "Troublesome, what does that mean?" "The Sith Empire is currently establishing an Imperial listening outpost just above us in the stars, as you would call it," Ashara explained. "Mostly it's simply to monitor Republic traffic, nothing more or less." "And Naruto is in charge of it?" Tsunade asked, looking stunned. Vet began to speak. "Yeah, at one point Boss was like the 3rd highest guy in the Empire. They called him the Emperor's Wrath. Anytime the Emperor got pissed at someone, Boss was called in to do the job." The blue-skinned Twi'lek rubbed her arms. "He didn't like the job, so when the opportunity made to get a demotion he took it and asked to come back home. The Dark Council granted his request on the grounds he established a listening post here. He wanted a simple battalion to watch over everything. They gave him a frickin' garrison. That's how well respected Boss is." The entire council chamber was silent. They all looked at each other. "I second Councilwoman Haruno's motion," Hiyashi stated. "All oppose?" Tsunade asked, and no hands were raised. She smiled softly. "I'll have him fitted for a Jonin vest before the end of the day. Right now I need to go help my apprentice." Naruto did not waste any time using the images he stole from Danzo's mind. He raced through the underground complex as fast as his legs could carry him, with both chakra and the force enhancing his speed. Midway though, he scooped up Sakura into his arms so he didn't leave her behind. The rosette-haired girl nestled in his arms watched in amazement as they practically had flown through the village into the dark underground, everything in a blur. She looked down at her lover, seeing his mind focused on the one person he long thought dead and buried with his father. When he discovered what Danzo had done, he had been enraged almost to the point of losing himself completely to the dark side. The amount of hatred he felt had consumed him. If it hadn't been for Vet, Sakura, and Jasa, he was sure he'd have slaughtered the entire Hidden Leaf Council, then the village itself. He would have told Malave to target the Hidden Leaf with the ships in orbit and leveled it to the ground, killing everything in it. But his loves held him in their grasp, soothed the hatred, the anger, replaced it with love, eased the pain, caressed away the hurt, bathed him in compassion and sympathy. How he loved all three even more now. They weathered his storm and brought strength in this highly unusual union of 4 hearts. "I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, I didn't mean to frighten the 3 of you," he said softly. Sakura smiled softly, kissing his cheek. It was justified. He deserved what he got. Just remember, everyone else in that room was just as shocked and angry at him. But they also knew you had more rights to be angry. She's your mother and he took her from you. I don't deserve the 3 of you," Naruto whispered, earning a smack to the back of his head. Looking at Sakura, he saw tears in her eyes and a fierce but sad look. "I should be the one saying that," Sakura's eyes flashed. "I beat you, I belittled you, I ignored you, yet you kept coming back to me, offering me your heart. You willingly fought a stronger opponent when you fought guard to save me. You chased after Sasuke because I asked you to, not caring if it broke your heart. You did it to make me happy," she cried. "I don't deserve you, Naruto. But you still want me, to give your heart to me, but this time I won't throw it away. I'll hold on to it with every fiber of my being. I don't care if I have to share it with Vet and Jasa. All I care about now is to be with you, marry you, have your children if you'll let me. I love you, Naruto." Naruto slowly came to a stop as they came to the room Kushina was being held, gently setting Sakura down on her feet. He reached up and wiped her tears away before leaning in and kissing her. Sakura wanted to deepen the kiss. By Kami she wanted to deepen it, but she restrained herself. Her future mother-in-law needed her in the medic nin capacity. "I love you too, Sakura-chan." Naruto smiled faintly before walking into a stale white room that smelled of anomia and bleach. In the center of the room, Jasa stood next to a bed, and in that bed laid a woman hooked up to various machines. One pumped in nutrients, the other pumped out waste from her body, another pumped in a solution that kept her comatose, yet her mind, according to the machines, was highly active. He walked up to the woman who gave birth to him, who was supposed to be dead. Gazing at her in quiet awe, aside from looking slightly malnourished and her body were probably so badly weakened from 16 years of doing nothing that it would take normally nearly a year to recuperate. He reached up to his communicator. "Malave, I need a Kolto tank and medical droid here ASAP." He watched Sakura scan his mother, noting she was also in awe of the woman, mostly at how even under all the machines the woman's beauty could be seen. "At once, my lord," Malave's reply came. Naruto turned to Sakura. "How bad?" Danzo wanted her incapacitated but not damaged. Sakura's green hands gently coasted over her future mother-in-law. "She's weak but alive, and with the right treatments she'll be as healthy as she was before you were born, I imagine." "Can we wake her?" Naruto asked. Sakura smiled softly, nodding, motioning Jasa to help her as the two teen girls started working. The rosette-haired girl gently pulling out the fourth that held the solution that kept the woman comatose, then healed the hole using her medical jutsu. After that she began neutralizing the solution. While she did that, Jasa began using the force to begin bringing the woman's inert form back into being active. First she started with her motor functions, which became more pronounced as Sakura neutralized the solution. Next came the sense of touch, allowing Kushina to feel things again: the air, the bed sheets, Naruto's hand who had taken Kushina's. Then came the sense of taste. She could taste the grittiness of not being able to use her throat for 16 years, trying to swallow using a dry mouth. With Jasa's help, Naruto picked the woman up and gently gave her a drink of water to quench her parched throat. Next came sound. Kushina heard the three breaths in the room, one labored, namely her own, one swift mostly in excitement, the other two calm, a distant rhythmic beep of a heart monitor. Finally came sight, Kushina tentatively opening her eyes, wincing at the brightness. At first everything was blurry, trying to adjust after not being used in the last 16 years. When they finally did clear, she had three people standing around her, two girls she didn't recognize, but it was the blonde male that looked familiar. "Hey Mom," Naruto whispered. Kushina's eyes widened, her heart beating faster, looking at her son for the first time since that horrible night. She remembered it all: the masked man, Kurama being ripped out of her using the Sharingan, Minato driving him off, his proposal to seal the fox into Naruto, her rejection of the idea, fearing what would happen without either of them there to protect him. Then she remembered her death. For what felt like ages there was nothing, then a light, Danzo standing over her, one of his root Anbu collapsing, before she react darkness. She stared up quietly, looking at her son, emotions flooding her, regret, but relief, overwhelming relief, and undeniable happiness surged into her body. She was alive, weak sure, but alive, and her son had found her. NN.rut.o, her voice barely above a whisper, happy tears streaming down her cheeks. Naruto smiled, pulling his mother into hug as tears of happiness of his own rolled down his cheeks. This was the scene that Tsunade, Shizune, and the Anbu that accompanied them, everyone around them watched the scene play out, tears of own falling. Mother and son had been finally reunited. Happiness, grief, and regret, a strange mixture when one first thinks about it. For Kushina Uzumaki, it was her reaction to finding out what had happened to her son. He had hardships upon hardships, and if Hiruzen Sarutobi was alive right now, she would have castrated the man for his one moment of vengeful pride. The loss of Biwako Sarutobi had not been the fault of Naruto's or Kurama's, it had been the fault of the masked individual that ripped the fox out of her. Before the man could think rationally, however, he let slip the nine tails was sealed inside her son. When he had begun to think and realized his mistake, it was too late. Her son's fate was sealed. He would fall into the categories of Gaara from the hidden sand, Han and Roshi from the hidden stone, and young innocent Fu from the hidden waterfall, to be hated and shunned for something not their doing. That was her grief and her regret. She was coming to grips with it and would push her way past it. The happiness stemmed from her son's love and affection, as well as those from his three lovers. She and Vet instantly got along. The Twilight girl's feisty nature reminded Kushina a lot of herself. Her snarky comments and carefree attitude made the bond between future mother-in-law and future daughter-in-law almost seamless. Kushina's impression of Jasa was similar to her impressions of Minato. She came restrained but had a mean prankster streak underneath the bland outward expression. Last was Sakura, Naruto's first crush and first love. Needless to say, somehow and in some way Kushina felt Naruto had actually listened to her advice before her original death. If Vet reminded Kushina of herself younger, then Sakura, combination of both her younger self and her older self, complete with the similar hard lives growing up. The only minor difference was how the two coped. She had to go at it alone, while Sakura had a friend to help her. Kushina ran her fingers through her son's hair, while the dips into the Kolto tank did wonders to speed up her recovery, repairing a lot of the physical damage, enough to where she can walk with the aid of a cane. She had months more to do. Her chakra capacity was actually bigger than where it was at her death. She always had more chakra than most women, mostly because of Kurama and her own Uzumaki genes, so performing genjutsu was never her thing. Her strengths were in wind ninjutsu, water ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and of course her clan's stock and trade sealing. She was eager to finish her physical therapy so she could get back on the horse. Looking down at her son and frowned sadly, thinking of so many missed opportunities, her plans destroyed. She planned to be Naruto's Jonin sensei and later have him become her apprentice in the sealing arts, like her father had done for her. Lieutenant Malave entered the room along with Sakura, who had become her personal medics. "Is it terminal?" Kushina asked with a pout. "Yes, Lady Kushina, lifelong I'm afraid," Malave smirked, glancing down at Naruto. "Or at least until he's married, then he becomes someone else's problem." Sakura rolled her eyes as the red-haired woman giggled. "Using her medical jutsu, another week of Kolto dips and some physical therapy, you'll be back to full strength, Auntie," Sakura stated, feeling slightly annoyed calling her that. But the moment Kushina found out her son had enacted the clan restoration charter, the Uzumaki woman had asked to meet all three of her future daughter-in-laws separately and immediately told them to call her auntie until they married Naruto, then start calling her mom. Safe to say Jasa still called her Lady Kushina out of respect of her position as her master's mother, as much as Kushina tried to dissuade the former Jedi. Ved was the only one to start calling her mom, stating she'd rather just jump to it rather than wait. Kushina immediately hugged the blue-skinned Twi'lek, and holding up a victory sign stating "Best daughter-in-law ever." "Great, I hate hospitals, and the food sucks, I want ramen," Kushina pouted, still gently running her hands through her son's hair. "Something else you and Naruto have in common," Sakura sighed. Hearing a light groan as Naruto sat up, rubbing his eyes and rolling his neck. "Honestly, Naruto, you're going to hurt yourself sleeping like that. Your mom isn't going to run away from you if spent one night sleeping in your own bed." The whiskered-marked Sith scratched his cheek, looking sheepish. "Sorry. Be kind, Lady Sakura, my lord is still in the midst of bonding to his mother, as such we should allow for it. Eventually he'll return to his old patterns," Malave stated. "He has been denied such a thing for 16 years. Sakura nodded, taking a deep sigh. "I know Lady Tsunade told me that, but I'm worried about his own health. And will stop referring to me as Lady Sakura, I haven't earned the right for any title. You are one of my lord's intended wives through this clan restoration charter, as such with all Sith lords that marry their wives are granted the title of Lady," Malave explained. Sakura grumbled, blushing slightly, "And if Naruto becomes Hokage you'll be getting the same title anyway, so just deal with it, Sakura-chan." Kushina giggled, watching rosette-haired girl groaned. Naruto chuckled, standing and cracking his back. "So what's on the agenda today?" Kushina asked. "First need to get in touch with Pierce." They managed to track down Fu. She went into hiding after the Akatsuki tried to make a grab for her. Naruto paused, pulling out a datapad that was connected to the Imperial network. "I need to be there, Fu's probably scared to death right now." Sakura's eye twitched. "How the heck do you know her?" "Remember when Team 7 did that mission to the hidden waterfall?" Sakura nodded. "Well, after meeting up with Kakashi-sensei and staying the night in the forest outside the entrance, I kind of bumped into her. While I was out looking for firewood, she asked me what I was doing and I told her." Naruto paused. "She got a spaced-out look for a second, meaning she was talking to her Bijou, which I didn't know at the time, then she got real friendly real fast. We kind of hit it off. So that's why it took almost 4 hours to look for firewood," Sakura stated. Kushina nodded. "It's natural, though they are in different Jinchuriki. The Bijou will naturally gravitate toward each other. Chomei and Kurama were the closest out of the 9, at least that was what Kurama told me the few times he'd actually talked to me. While he and Shikaku really hated each other." The rosette-haired girl frowned. "Am I going to have to tell Vet and Jasa we're going to get another sister wife?" Naruto waved his hands, shaking his head. "No, I don't see her like that, Sakura-chan. I see her like I see Shizune Ayame. She's simply my surrogate sister, more so since we share the same burden. Might push her towards Sasuke, though the poor boy needs someone who'd adore him and is not a fangirl," Kushina pointed out. "Would that work?" Naruto asked. "Of course, I'm his godmother. Plus I've been meaning to ask him why Mikado didn't take you in like she was supposed to," Kushina frowned. The whiskered-marked blonde finished scanning his datapad and setting it down on Kushina's dresser. He taught his mother how to use it, mostly to keep in touch with him if he got called away to the hidden whirlpool. She was stunned that he would set up shop there and was worried he inadvertently destroyed the ruins. But those worries were put to rest as the village had been cordoned off behind ray shields and only scientists were allowed to go in, mostly to recover artifacts of the clan but not to disturb the ruins as a whole. Naruto kissed his mother on the cheek and then kissed Sakura. "I'll be back later in the day. Got to talk Fu out of hiding and bring her here at least until the Akatsuki are gone. I already explained it to Shibuki, and he agreed. He's even willing to negotiate into letting Fu stay as a member of the Hidden Leaf." Everyone in the room looked only mildly surprised as the Sith Jinchuriki waved them goodbye. At the entrance to the hospital, Jaisa fell into step just behind Naruto. "I have to ask, my lord, after all this time and all the months we've taken to return to your home planet, have you thought about ruling over the planet?" "Jaisa, we've discussed this before. I'm not the type to rule over a planet. Heck, I doubt I'll very good at ruling the leaf." He stopped, turning to one of his lovers and smiled faintly. "I just want to live with you, Vet-chan, and Sakura-chan, have a long happy life together. That is all I've ever wanted deep down." Jaisa nodded but frowned slightly. "You would be a great ruler, Naruto." Naruto kissed her, his smile warming considerably. "I appreciate the confidence, my love. I've had visions of the distant future of our offsprings. One becomes a rebel fighting against a tyrannical Sith rule. One becomes what I am now, a mixture of light and dark, trying to find his place in the galaxy. The last one becomes a slave to the Sith ruler, later a smuggler, and sometime Jedi Padawan. Finally she goes on to become a great Jedi, standing alongside her Jedi Grandmaster husband." "But Jedi don't marry unless they meet a certain guideline," Jaisa stated. "I know what I have foreseen is a new Jedi Order that blends the light and the dark, that allows attachments, allows love. It's not the stagnant beast that it is today and will be for the next 3,500 years, Naruto states as they both move through the village. Jaisa Wilsam frowned sadly at the thought of her former order being this complacent for the next 3 millennia. Refusing to change, she often had heated words with both her first master and Nomenkar about the state of the Jedi Order. Naruto had revealed to her the hypocrisy of the Jedi when he captured Kar and allowed the man to stew in his own hatred of British. What she had seen had shocked and appalled her. It also showed her the man was grooming her to become his weapon. Naruto had rescued her from that life, and begun to teach her the ways of balancing light and dark of the Force, stating that it was to listen to the Force as a whole and obeying what it whispers rather than try to manipulate it to one's own way of thinking. Kar tried to go against the will of the Force and he paid for it. Barish tried to force the Force to do what he wanted and he paid for it. The Force wills it? Yes, the Force and the future are always in motion, Jaisa-chan. If it wishes for me to rule the planet, I will. If it simply wants me to live a modest happy life with my 3 beautiful wives and rule my home village, then I will do that. I know you wish more for me considering how our pasts were terrible for the most part. But we will rise above this and the Force willingly guides us to our ultimate destiny." The Sith blonde watched the former Jedi nods. Naruto gently pulls her into a hug which she gladly returns. "Come on, maybe taking the head off an Akatsuki will make you feel better." Jaisa raised a delicate eyebrow. "That only happened once." Naruto snickered. "True, but I never seen anyone who found killing a group of droids and smugglers to be so turn on. You were practically jumping me right there in terminal." Crossing her arms over her chest, the former Jedi turned her head slightly, blushing. "Couldn't help it, you looked so damned commanding at that moment. My passions nearly got away from me. Maybe after this is over the 4 of us can lock the door to my ship and not come out until I turn you all into goo?" Naruto asked suggestively. No sooner had he finished, a figure crashed out of tree. "Purview Sage." Jiraiya jumped to his feet, rubbing the blood from his nose. Hey kid, been a while. You are 4 days late finally getting here." "I arrived here a week ago, and the word Mom is alive was out 2 days after that," Naruto explained. Sorry, was busy with one of my spies trying to filter out how much to give away to the Akatsuki. I got to say, kid, you came back with a vengeance, killed Orochimaru and Kabuto, found out about all of Danzo's shit, something I've been trying to figure out for years. You then kill him, and lastly you discover Kushina is still alive." Jiraiya had a proud smile on his face. "Your father would be really proud of you." The stumbled in his words came from Naruto slamming a fist in the man's gut. Dropping to the ground, gasping for breath while trying not to puke. "Yep, I deserve that." The old man coughed a few times. "Glad you understand why I did it." Naruto smirked slightly. "And so fall into an exclusive crowd, pervy sage. Dad and Sasuke got the same shot to the gut, so consider it your punishment for the neglect, godfather." The toad Sanin sighed, rolling to sit down, still rubbing his stomach. "I'll probably get worse from your mom when she gets to feeling better. Half the reason why I took my sweet time getting back. I figured I'd rather her get it out of her system and kill me now rather than later. Please Moms and Uzumaki, we don't do standard punishment. I gave you a punch to the gut, because I know she's going to give you punishment. She'll probably prank your ass, and I guarantee she's already got one in mind." Naruto smirked, watching his godfather groan, knowing he'll never be able to avoid it. "What are you and the girl in the robes going?" Jiraiya asked, changing the subject. "Jaisa-chan and I are going to find Fu. My command center in Whirlpool found her heading toward Wave with 2 Akatsuki on her trail, a guy from her home village and someone from the Hidden Rain," Naruto explained. "Kakuzu and Hidan, infamous zombie brothers," Jiraiya replied grimly. "They'll wish they were real rake ghouls when I finish with them. Naruto snarled, earning a look of confusion as the blonde Sith and his female apprentice headed to the Hokage Tower. Naruto and Jace had passed under the sign of the named bridge in his honor, which still left the Sith Jinchuriki looking stunned each time he saw it. Still floors me every time I see that. When Pierce showed it the first time, I couldn't keep the smile off my face for a solid week. Vet, and I know, you were highly energetic in your love-making that week, my lord, the former Jedi smiled. We did not complain, as you may recall. The blonde looked a bit sheepish, remembering. He sighed, thinking about Sakura. So should marriage be 3 different ceremonies or just one big one? I would request an Alderaanian traditional marriage. I believe Sakura expresses having the traditional Shinobi marriage. Vet, I recall simply wants your surname, a ring, and a night of hot steamy sex. With a sigh, Naruto shakes his head. Yeah, I don't really picture Vet-chan the type to want a lavish wedding. She just wants to get to the ball busting, endurance training, mind-blowing, make her scream my name, multi-orgasmic sex. He lists and notices Jace stop. He turns to see his Jedi apprentice had spaced out with a light blush adorning her cheeks and what looked like blood coming from her right nostril. Jace-chan? The former Jedi quickly shook her head to clear. My apologies, my lord, I lost myself for a moment. Jace, it's just the two of us. You can drop the dutiful apprentice act. Naruto gently pulled her into his arms. You can call me by my name. I know, but it is hard. All my life I have been taught to be respectful to those above me, and the Sith way all apprentices are subservient to their teachers. They are not considered equals, Jace whispers, feeling her hood slowly dropping to reveal her face, shoulder-length brown hair and her brown eyes searching her lovers. I'm not the traditional Sith, Jace-chan. You are my equal in every way, just like Vet-chan, and Sakura-chan. You each have abilities that are actually better than mine. I'd likely shoot myself in the foot with one of Vet's blasters. Sakura has the ability to heal any wound and pulverize any opponent with her chakra-enhanced strength. Your abilities in the Force in some areas overshoot mine by far, and your lightsaber combat is greater than mine. You each hold an equal part of my heart, the blonde Sith explained, gently wiping away the former Jedi's tears, caressing her cheeks softly. Naruto, Jace whispered softly, leaning up and capturing his lips with hers. A few minutes later they reluctantly separated, walking through the Land of Waves village before coming to a makeshift. Jace stretch out with the Force. She's in the tree above us. Fu-chan, it's Naruto. You can come out. Naruto watched as a girl a bit taller than himself with a deep tan, mint green hair, and orange eyes jumped out of the tree, looking around nervously. They're a few minutes away, Fu-chan, and they won't get you, I promise, and you know me. The green-haired girl lunged at him, hugging him, crying, Naruto, Fu missed you so much. The girl whimpered softly. Sorry I didn't see you like I wanted to, things got kind of hectic. Oshibuki said you can stay in the Hidden Leaf until the Akatsuki are, and maybe even permanently, Naruto explained. Fu would like that a lot. Could Fu be part of Naruto-kun's family? Fu asked. Naruto nodded. Of course, wanna know what's better? You'll have an actual mom. Fu's eyes widen in shock and joy. I found my mom, Fu, and she's alive. That's awesome. Fu happy for Naruto, happy to have a mom. The green-haired Jinchuriki giggled, turning to face the normal reserved former Jedi who had a tick mark above her left eye. Who you? I am one of Naruto's fiancés and his apprentice, Jace said evenly, eyes flashing. My lord may consider this country bumpkin his sister, but does she have to rub herself all over him in such a perverse manner? It makes Vet's attempts seem tame. A second later her rising ire was stomped out when she sensed the negative emotions from the two Akatsuki members approaching them. My lord, they approached just beyond the tree line. Oh good, Fu-chan, back to your hiding spot, blonde Sith stated, to which the green-haired girl nodded, vanishing into the trees. Jace-chan, please do take care of the one with the 5 hearts, I'll take out the foul-mouthed Jashinist. Jace smirked darkly, pulling her hood back over her head, drawing her double-bladed lightsaber. This one was made after she became Naruto's apprentice, from the blades of a Takata and metal from Naruto's first lightsaber that he was sent to retrieve from the tomb of Nagasadao. The crystals were actually the crystals made from Naruto's necklace, the very same one he got from Tsunade. He still had 3 pieces to that necklace, 2 of which he planned to give to Vet and Sakura. The cyan-colored crystal gave off a cyan-colored blade for her lightsaber, which she cherished so much. She had yet to use this lightsaber in battle, but now on her lover's homeworld facing one of his enemies she was going to unleash it upon them. Do not relent, my apprentice, give him no quarter and show no mercy, because he will do the same in your place, Naruto whispered as both of them slipped into the shadows. Not more than a minute later Fu spotted the 2 Akatsuki members appear through the trees. Giving a bit of an unconscious shiver, the 7-tailed Jinchuriki watched the ones that hunted her, glaring at them. The village in general hated her mostly because none of them were shinobi and couldn't distinguish a kunai on the scroll it was sealed in, but they turned her into a glorified watchdog. Now when she was hunted, the village leader hadn't raised so much as a finger to help her. Instead, her fellow Jinchuriki and one of his fiancés had come to her rescue, even offered her a place in his village. Of course she was going to accept, mostly because of Naruto, but also the thought of having a mother, something she longed for since forever. It was a no-brainer. Fu wants a mom. Naruto offered to be Fu's brother, get to be daughter to Naruto's mom. Fu likes that idea. Come down here, you fucking little crap stain. Hidan scowled, glaring up at the girl. Nope, Fu has surprise for morons like you, Fu snickered. Look kid, just quit running and accept what's going to happen, Kakuzu states before the two Akatsuki hear something very menacing as four snap hisses are heard. Before either man could turn, a cyan blade slices Kakuzu's head clean off. Regardless of how many hearts the man had, if he didn't have a head those hearts cease to function, hence he drops without even seeing his attacker. Hidan was just as unlucky, only he was still conscious. What the fuck? Hidan found himself staring at someone in black and red armored robes. Such language, do you kiss your mother with that mouth? The figure states as Fu jumps down smirking. Fuck you, buttfucker, Hidan replied snarling. Sorry, as much as my lovely vet-chan has suggested it, I've not done that yet. But I must commend you on your courage in coming out of the closet. Alas, I just don't swing that way. I love my fiancés way too much to go gay on them. Naruto smirked down at the former Rain Jonin. Hey, I'm not gay. Hidan growled. Interesting. Well, you are a monk, so I guess swearing off sex is the way of things. But imagine if you did get some, you'd be less uptight. Does wonders for me. The blonde Sith turned the Jashinist's lower body and with a fire jutsu turned it to ash. Sona bitch, the former Rain Jonin cursed, glaring at the blonde Jinchuriki. What you going to do to me? Test how long your god favors you before allowing you to die, while giving you to my scientists to see if we can use your immortality in any way. He tapped his communicator. Commander Pierce, I have a couple of pickups for you, my lovely sister from another mother, and the head of a Jashinist monk. I want our scientists to study thoroughly, with the leanings towards torturous. Understood, my lord. Lady Fu will be treated as you would be and the head will be treated as you used to be, Pierce smirked. Naruto looked down at the head before frowning. This shouldn't be this easy. I've defeated Orochimaru, Kabuto, Danzo, and these two in seconds when I could barely defeat Orochimaru and Kabuto 3 years ago. Element of surprise, my lord, and you are far stronger than you were when you were 13, Jasa explained. The force masking our movements and chakra prevents them from detecting us. Only those of the Dojutsu bloodlines were able to detect us, and even then it could be played off as imagination. True, Naruto replied, hearing his communicator beep. Ah yes, Lord Imperious, what word do you have? Sasori and Deidara have both been taken care of. That leaves the Uchiha and Kisame, along with the leaders. How do you wish to proceed? Jason asked. Naruto spotted Hidan trying to move using his jaw muscles. He stamped down on the head, getting more curses for his effort. Tell Kem to have fun with the swordsman, however leave Itachi alone, he still has a role to fill, plus, his illness will kill him in a few months anyway. Sasuke officially washed his hands on killing brother when I told him it would be far more cruel to let his brother die of his disease than granting him a mercy killing. Ouch, Jason muttered over the holocom. Anyway, Gaara sends you his regards and would love to find out how you're doing. Tell him, he is welcome and that as soon as the Akatsuki are dealt with I'll be glad to join him for some tea. Naruto smiled. Better get moving, Lord Imperious, these criminals wait for no one and neither shall we. Understood, Lord Wrath, may the force be with you, Jason stated with a salute. And with you, my friend. Naruto shut down the holocom, picking up Hidan's head. Outside, Itachi, Kisame, Konan, and Pain, or should I say Nagato Uzumaki, who else is a part of the Akatsuki. The head frowned slightly. Don't know how you know all that, but since I got no loyalty to those fucktards, fine. The only one I've seen is Zetsu, also saw this masked guy walking around. Real creepy guy too. One minute he acts like a complete fucking moron, the next he goes all dark and mysterious on ya. You happy, dipshit? Incredibly, and I thank you for the information. As such, you can spend the rest of your days entertaining a friend of mine with what anecdotes that tickle your fancy. Naruto chuckles. Maybe you'll get a little head on the side. Dude, that is so fucking not cool. Hidan snorts, looking mildly annoyed. Akatsuki hidden base, hidden rain. The days of encroaching darkness Nagato had felt had lifted. He knew of Itachi's double agent status as a spy for Jiraiya-sensei. He didn't care, his interest lied in the new faction that had taken over his clan's ancestral home, but he used the term lightly as they have yet to touch it. The surrounding area had been touched, but the ruins themselves have for the most part have been left alone. save a few archaeologists taking great pains to preserve artifacts from his old clan. Also Zetsu had reported to him many of the soldiers in this new faction had begun showing up in new armor with the Uzumaki clan insignia on their armor. It was a sign that this new army was led by an Uzumaki. Report Zetsu. Hidan and Kakuzu have failed to capture the Seven Tails, Itachi and Kisame failed to capture the Two Tails, Sasori and Deidara failed to capture the One Tail, Hidan is just ahead, Kakuzu is dead, Deidara, Sasori, and Kisame are all dead. Itachi has been captured by this new faction, and Hidan's head was captured by the Nine Tails wielding two strange-looking swords, White Zetsu reported. The Nine Tails was also using technology far more advanced than anything the Land of Spring currently has in offer. Also rumors are abound in the Hidden Leaf that the previous Nine Tails Jinchuriki has been found alive, Danzo has also been killed by the current Nine Tails. The Black Zetsu reported. You may go Zetsu. Nagato watched the plant man vanish looking at his 6 former bodies. In the last 3 months he had been secretly restoring his body while removing the means to control his paths by taking back what he put in them. Kushina is alive, somehow my sister is alive. And I almost did the unthinkable, I almost ordered the death of my very own nephew. Does she know you're alive? Konan asked. Doubtful, Master Jiraiya would have never made the connection unless I said something. She probably thinks I perished with the village. I'm almost strong enough to leave, we need to throw him off the fact that I'm almost at full strength again, Nagato stated. Could send him after Itachi, on the pretenses of shutting him up. Something tells me that place would kill or incapacitate him for a while, Konan suggested. Nagato nodded, something about those people in robes will definitely make it hard for him to leave even with the time displacement jutsu. Alright, tell, but make it seem like something he was going to do himself. Zetsu has probably informed of everything we already know. I'll get it done, please rest Nagato. Naruto cannot revive the clan by himself, Konan smiled softly. When you get back please bring some scissors, this hair is getting annoying, Nagato stated, brushing his long hair out of his face. It was nearing a conclusion. Naruto one more death, that was all that was needed to finally get some peace. For a life as both a shinobi and a Sith Lord such a thing was a pipe dream. Shinobi while having long stretches of peacetime moments, but 3 wars have come and gone since the creation of the Big Five. Before that clan fought against other clans. Sith were by far even worse, war was in the blood, and the bloodier the war the better. As it is said, peace is a lie, but the constant battles during his time with the Sith, and the constant fighting he had before leaving to join the Sith, Naruto had enough of war. His dream outside of being Hokage was to simply raise a family, relax, live his life. He knew he'd have to fight occasionally, he never wanted to fight in another full-scale war again. I'm tired Jasa-chan. Tired of all the big fights, little ones I can deal with and they are fun. But fighting wars, the endless bloodshed, I just can't take anymore. Once this masked guy is done, I'm taking a Jinan team. Jason nods, gently taking his hand and giving it a squeeze. But what of my training, my lord? You've got all you need, I cannot teach anything more, and in so doing I'm bestowing your Sith title. You from this day forevermore be known as Darth Fade. Both for your skills in stealth but also in your undying love and loyalty to me, Jasa-chan. Naruto explained, watching as tears rolled down her cheeks, seeing in her eyes how happy she was. Oh Naruto, I can't begin to describe how happy I am at this moment, Jasa whispered, pulling him into a hug and kissing him deeply. When they separated, the whisker-marked blonde smile, you are now my equal, I wish for you to go and find your own apprentice. Teach that person, whoever she or he may be, what I've taught you. I know you'll be an excellent teacher. Consider this an early wedding present. And I will forever treasure it, my love. Jace's smile looked like 1,000,000 kilowatts. Sitting around a circular conference table in Whirlpool City, as the main base was starting to be called, sat the highest of the high-ranking Sith, military officers, intelligence operatives, and even a few bounty hunters sprinkled in, via Naruto's personal request. These men and women answered to Darth Wrath and Darth Imperius for 3 reasons. First, the 2 men held the highest ranks among them in the Sith Empire. Second, both were fair-minded but stern, earning the respect and love of the entire garrison. Third and finally, they were Revanets, as were everyone in the garrison. They respected and upheld the teachings of Revan. I welcome you all to our first official meeting since coming here. Whirlpool City has begun to thrive from the ashes of its predecessor. This was my clan's home and I can feel the echoes of their last moments. I can feel their pain, anguish, but I also feel their determination, their drive to fight and protect those they thought precious. A beloved friend once told me that was the path to true strength, and I listened to him well. Protect what you love and what is precious. Lord Revan knew that. Grandmaster Satel Shan knows that now. That is why the Sith Empire fails. Her ancestor bestowed his will of fire upon his descendant and she fights with everything she is. Revan himself fought to keep the love of his life safe, to keep his friends safe. Naruto paused in his speech knowing that he held the group at the edge of their seats. Much like he did during the first round of the Chunin exams. But Revan's dream was to end the endless war to bring balance to the Force. However, his philosophy left him ostracized from both the Jedi and the Sith. His belief was that balance could only be maintained by being both light and dark, balance in its purest form. There should not be a dark or light side, just the Force. The Jedi would have us believe we should bury our emotions yet have compassion, which that in itself hypocritical. After all, you can't spell compassion without passion at its end. Sith would have us believe that we must oppress to achieve order. There are countless worlds with countless histories that show us that this only brings ruin, misery, and hardships, eventually rebellion. Peace is not a lie, peace brings respite, rest, clarity. Permanent peace is the lie. Without conflict there is no forward movement, without conflict there is stagnation, complacency. I say this, my fellow Revanites, the Force has shown me a vision and it is both everything we've hoped for and everything we fear. The Force will be brought into balance, just not during our time or the time of our children. It will take 3,523 years before balance is brought to Force. In 100 years' time the Sith Empire will fall, then collapse completely. The Jedi Order will maintain a stagnant hold on it for 3,000 plus years, while the Sith go into hiding and adapt. Is there any way to change it? A young officer asked. Naruto simply shook his head. To try and alter it will make things far worse. We must trust in the Force. I foresee this garrison will sit out the wars, maintain a quiet watchful gaze on the galaxy. I have told this to Darth Malgus himself a few days ago. While angry he has agreed to let us live here for as long as we wish. We are annexed from the Sith Empire, both still a part of it and our own separate entity. To fully enjoy our lives here, there must be one more death, one more monster to slay. The whisker-marked Sith tapped a key on the console in front of him. A figure appeared in the center dressed in a black cloak with red clouds, wearing an orange spiral mask. This is our target, one man who has tried to bury this world in war, turned the Mizukage into a bloodthirsty monster, killed the fourth Hokage, helped murder the entire Uchiha clan, sought to rip out the bijou of every Jinchuriki, myself included. This stain on our new world must be cleansed. In order to bring about some normalcy, Darth Wrath turned to the bounty hunters. This idiot thinks I'll fight him, but he is less than worth my time. Kardastan, you and your bounty hunters are the ones who will track him down and kill him. His arrogance will blind him to your particular talents. Take his life and bring the corpse to me, so I can string it in the Hidden Leaf Village Square so my fellow villagers can desecrate it to their heart's content for killing my father. Then after they are done I want it take to the Hidden Mist for them to have their fun. Kardastan was a no-nonsense bounty hunter that won the most recent great hunt, had a spunky wife and had already resources as well as spies in every hidden village and minor village in the world. Well, Mako, looks that guy's days are numbered, he muttered sitting back in his chair as the group that had gathered dispersed to do their own jobs hunting this man. I've already started compiling his last known locations based off our spy network, Mako stated pulling out her datapad. The bounty hunter smirked glancing at his wife. I never ever doubt you, hun. Better not, Buster, if you know what's good for you, Mako snickered. Jaisa and Vet had entered the clan home of the Hyugas mostly because Jaisa felt a pull from the Force that told her she would find her ideal apprentice among the normally aloof Dogetsu clan. Vet had come along mostly for moral support, got be nervous doing this for the first time. Very, Naruto suggested I find one as soon as possible, so I meditated and found her fairly quickly. It is amazing that many shinobi on this world could all be Force-sensitive, the former Jedi-turned-Sith Lord stated. Lady Fade and Lady Vet, it is an honor to meet you within the Hyuga clan grounds. Lord Hiyashi and Lady Hinobi are waiting for as you have asked, one of the branch family members stated. Jaisa and Vet were led through the compound until they came to a set of sliding paper doors. On the other side kneeling in the Seiza position were Hiyashi, Hinobi, and Hinata. Lady Fade and Lady Vet, Lord Hiyashi. The man nodded and gestured them to sit across from them. Jaisa kneeled down like the Hyugas gathered while Vet plopped down sitting Indian style. Jaisa looked at her with a raised eyebrow. What? Vet asked. Why do you have to be crass and uncouth? Jaisa asked with a sign almost knowing the answer. Listen, Sith Princess, I don't have Jedi training to kneel on my knees for hours on end. I actually like to have circulation running through my feet, Vet snarked. This earned a giggle from Hinata, earning a mixture of a glare and a sigh from her father. I am surprised you would visit us. I understand Naruto only bestowed your Sith title barely a day ago, Hiyashi stated looking mildly interested. My lord, I mean Naruto stated it would be most prudent that I find an apprentice of my own quickly. So I meditated on it, and the Force granted me a vision of your youngest. As I understand it, your youngest has not been promoted to the rank of Jinan mostly because of her graduating team had failed their Jonin's exam, the Sith lady stated, noticing the child in question looked down depressingly. Hiyashi's face looked like he had swallowed a particularly sour lemon. News of my daughter's failure has spread fast. It was not her fault, Lord Hiyashi. A team pulled together at the last minute to appease your clan's elders was the culprit. They had no synergy, no teamwork, just thrown together in hopes they would pass. And even if they had passed, the will of the Force would not allow Hanabi to remain with them long. She has been called to do something far greater, Jasa explained. Hanabi looked at the woman in robes. What do you mean? As I said, Naruto asked me to find myself my own apprentice to train, and I meditated on it. It showed me a vision of who my apprentice would be. It showed me you, Hanabi. As such, I would like to ask you both for permission to train Hanabi in the ways of the Force, to be a lady of the Sith. Jasa smiled faintly, watching the girl's eyes widen. If you wish, I can give you a brief demonstration of what this means. I feel your Byakugan and your gentle fist taijutsu would benefit greatly from this. A demonstration could prove whether I allow it or not, Hiyashi stated as Jasa nodded before focusing in by simply raising her hand. Hiyashi, Hanabi, Hinata, Vet, and all the items in the room began to float. Hey, I didn't ask to be part of you showing off. Put me down, Vet snapped and fell to the ground with an oof. You did that on purpose, Sith Princess. May, can't prove it, Space Pirate, Jasa smirked, gently lowering everyone and everything else. Does this satisfy your curiosity, Hiyashi? The man was dumbstruck. This woman was offering to teach his child to lift things without touching them, and he could only guess this was merely a taste of what abilities Hanabi could learn. Very much so. If Hanabi and the Hokage has no problem with it, then I would gladly allow it. Lady Tsunade has already agreed and is willing to grant Hanabi Jinan status, under me. If there is ever a chance at promotion to Chunin, I will test her for it. Jasa turned to the youngest daughter. What say you, Hanabi? Hanabi bowed, low tears of happiness in her eyes. I would be honored to be your apprentice, Lady Fade. Good, then rest well this day, for tomorrow you will begin in a larger world. Jasa stood along with Vet, who was rubbing her head. I bid you good day and let you celebrate as I know you will. With that, the two young teens left the room. Just as they were about to leave the compound, however, wait. Both turned to see Hinata run up. I have to ask, are you two, and Sakura, really going to be and Naruto-kun's wives? Vit glanced at the Sith lady, who was currently searching Hinata's surface thoughts. I see, I sense your feelings for Naruto are as strong as our own. The girl jerked, slightly surprised. Your thoughts betray you, Hinata Hyuga, and your feelings do not lie. This is complicated. I'll say I doubt even Boss knows about how she feels. What do we do? Vet asks, groaning, rubbing the back of her head. We consult Naruto, his mother, and Sakura, of course. The decision is ultimately up to Naruto, though. Jasa was annoyed. First, the Inuzuka clan had made her comment about her daughter, and now they find the Hyuga heiress is love with their lover. I have a bad feeling about this. Great, you just jinxed the whole thing, Vet snarked sourly. Hinata pushed her fingers together. I don't want to see cause trouble. If Naruto didn't cause trouble, he wouldn't be Naruto, even if he isn't here, Vet sighed. To anyone that looked in, the kneeling figure in the Caesar position at the center of a well-lit square was perfectly free to move about, aside from the faint glow surrounding him. Another figure wearing a spiral mask entered the room cautiously. Drawing a sword, the masked figure approached the kneeling figure. Itachi, how far have you fallen? A traitor to your clan, a traitor to the Akatsuki, and now a prisoner. Have you anything to say before I end you? Itachi didn't respond, simply kneeled there facing the same direction, not moving an inch. The masked figure eye furrowed a bit in confusion, before the glimmering stopped, and along with it Itachi vanished. What sorcery is this? The masked figure whispered in confusion, looking around as markings on the walls and corners began glowing, and the door he entered did the same. A large view screen lowered from above and an image appeared of a man in thick metal armor. He was smirking. Standing next to him was a rather petite-looking woman with tan skin. Welcome to my parlor, said the spider to the fly. The glowing marks around you are an anti-jutsu sealing array courteous of the former residents of this city, Cardus stated. The image of your clanmate was merely a hollow projection from his real cell, something he allowed so we would grant him a swifter death in his disease. The masked man snarled, trying to teleport using his Sharingan, but it was failing. So the Jinchuriki is a coward. Nope, he simply finds you insignificant and not even bothering, Mako replied, waving her hand. Low end of the totem pole, not worthy of his time. He did state, though, he hopes when you get to hell that you can justify yourself not only to your clanmates, but when his father, and your teammate meets to take their 10 pounds of flesh off your hide. The masked figure eye widen. Yep, he knows you, Obito Uchiha, a once brave shinobi turning coward trying to bring back a girl that probably just kill you when she found out what you tried to do. Rin would have been grateful. Obito tossed his mask to the ground, glaring up at the two figures. If my man did what you planned, I'd have shot him and cursed his very name until I died again. But my man ain't like that. He's rough around the edges, but he's got a good heart. Naruto is the same way. Every man and woman in this place would go to the depths of space and fight a million enemies in his name. What he does through respect and friendship, you had to do through fear and manipulation. So here's the deal, I got some new toys I've just been dying to try. Mako pulled out a datapad linked to the city's network. I love it when she takes charge. Cardus smiled as the woman sits down on his lap, punching away at the datapad, wiggling her hips and giving him a sidelong wink. So what's your new toys? It's based off Revan's design, only I've upgraded it a lot. So Obito, I like you to meet the HK-52's new assassin and protocol droids. 6 doors opened in the bare room, revealing 6 bronze-colored droids all wielding massive chain laser repeaters. They are programmed specifically to handle rogue shinobi. We are putting them into mass production and offering them to sweeten the deal in terms of forming a unified shinobi alliance. These bad boys have programmed into their brains every known missing nin in every bingo book. They do not need sleep, food, and could care less if you beg for mercy. They have one mission: hunt down to either capture or kill those targets in the bingo book. And you are their first target. Machines, advanced machines used to track missing nin. Each village would no longer need a hunter nin core. Those regulated to that core can be placed elsewhere to reinforce the village. Add new Jonin instructors. He moved slightly and the droids tracked him, the red eyes glowing. Statement: go ahead meatbag, make our day. The one in front of his spoke, eyes flashing with each word. Cardus snorted. Did you have to give them HK-47's personality? The tan cyborg smirked and shrugged. I liked it, Sumi. Got to let a girl have some fun. Okay fellas, I wanna get paid and the boss wants a body for display. So would you kindly kill him? The gruff bounty hunter watched the shinobi did dodge the first shot, but the second through the sixth ended the pathetic Uchiha's life, not in a grand battle but a lonely, forgotten execution. Man, girl, you do have a vicious streak when you put your mind to it. We Revanite stick to our family. And Naruto is our family. Cardus, he's the patriarch of this group. Mako snuggled into her husband. So it wouldn't be a dick move to ask for double? Cardus asked, turning a slap to his shoulder and a glare from his spunky wife. Just saying. Namikaze family home. Naruto was reading the latest report he got from Whirlpool City and sat back, letting out a long steady sigh. Cardus just sent me a message. The last Akatsuki member is gone. Kushina sighed sadly. To think it was Obito this whole time. I just can't believe he betrayed me, Nato, like that. The kid adored your father. It's our family's curse, Sasuke spoke up. I found it in Mother's journal. She said the Uchiha clan has a deep-seated love. We pick something and we put our all into it. Mother loved her family, I mean all of it. Naruto was included in that according to the journal. Father loved the clan. Itachi loves the village, and apparently Obito loved this Rin. We would fight to maintain this at all times to the point of madness. It explains why Madara did what he did back in my grandmother and grandfather's time, Tsunade said, sipping her sake. He was denied the right to be Hokage, to protect the village, so it drove him to do the opposite. Wow, your family has got some serious screws loose, Vet stated, some awe in her voice. Sasuke will change that, believe it. Naruto thrust a fist into the air, flopping back into the couch, forcing both Sakura and Vet stumble in their own seat, falling back, which the whisker-marked Sith pulled them into his arms. Both sighed in contentment, snuggling into his chest. Where's Jasa? Kushina asked. Training Hanabi. Then Jasa said she was taking the sprite out on a C-ranked mission to the hidden sand. I think it's to get a crystal for Hanabi's lightsaber, Naruto explained, then sighed sadly. Why didn't anyone tell me about Hinata's crush on me? She didn't really hide it, you were too dense at the time to notice, Sakura pointed out. Just glad you let her down easy. She was upset but understood. Kiba will pick up the pieces, probably after he tries to deck me, Naruto snorts in annoyance. He glances down at the mission reports, and frowned. How are the Konohamaru Corps? Taking Ebisu's death? Not well, they grew close to him in the last year and will miss him a lot. That client has a lot to answer for, Tsunade glared at the far wall. The client in question had been paid by some rogue hidden stone shinobi to lure the Konohamaru Corps and their sensei into a trap to make the Sarutobi clan pay for the third Hokage's actions in the last war. Ebisu had gotten his team out of the trap at the cost of his life. The client had been captured and faced charges. I'll take them, Naruto stated. I'll be their Jonin sensei, they know me and I've taught them all stuff before. Tsunade and Kushina smiled at that. I'll file the paperwork tomorrow and let them know someone will be meeting them. They train at Training Ground 3. I'll be there, Naruto paused. What's Kakashi-sensei going to do? I mean, Sasuke states he's retired and wants to focus on rebuilding his clan, giving the Uchiha the evil eye, with my cousin Anino-chan as 2 of his 3 future wives. If you hurt Karen, you team, I'll kick your ass. I won't. As annoying as she is, she's less annoying than you are. The Uchiha smirked, watching Naruto flip him the bird. Glad to see you can still be childish. Naruto pouted, looking away, kissing Sakura's forehead, who blushed a bit. What are you going to be doing, Vet-chan? With Jasa-chan training Hanabi, Sakura-chan working at the hospital, and me training Konohamaru, that leaves you kind of hanging in the wind. Sakura got me in touch with her dad, told him about the cargo speeders Whirlpool City is making. Kazashi asked me if I want to run partner with him, and help train him how to use the speeders. I told him I'd do one better, I'd help him, I'd bring in my old group. He was practically jumping at the chance to expand his merchant trading business, Vet explained. So that was making him so giddy. I haven't seen him that happy since the Land of Waves finished their bridge, Sakura groaned. As soon as the long-distance communications array is up, Vet-chan, you're welcome to make the call to your sister and friend. Naruto kissed the blue-skinned Twi'lek lightly, causing her to moan and pout. Humph, need to set aside time to give Pinky what you give me and Jasa, the Twi'lek whispered. And what does he give you too that he hasn't given me? Sakura asked. Vet looked over at the Toad Sage, a mischievous glint in her eye. Nothing much, just hot, sweaty, ball-busting, nut-draining, endurance training, mind-blowing. Vet was holding Naruto's hands away from her mouth. Multi-orgasmic, see. Jiraiya and Sasuke shot across the room, blood rocketing out of the noses. Kushina and Tsunade both had tick marks over their left eye, while Sakura seemed to look zoned out with blood dripping from her nose, while Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose, groaning. With Jasa and Hanabi on the road to Hidden Sand, why did we stop, Master? Hanabi asked, noting her master had a far-off look and blood dripping out of her nose, face flushed. The older teen shook her head and sighed. I felt a disturbance in the force. Really, what did it mean? The young Hyuga asked eagerly. The Sith lady grumbled a bit, having a feeling who and what the cause was. Just my future sister-wife, being crass and lewd as usual. Honestly, that Twi'lek has no sense of decency or restraint. Most likely the perverted toad was involved in some way. Hanabi smiled. I find Vit to be rather funny, and if she's pulling a prank on Lord Jiraiya makes it even funnier. Most likely at Naruto's expense. Jasa shook her head. The younger girl shrugged, scratching her nose in thought. What crystal will I need? You will know when we get there. The crystal will be a part of you, as will the lightsaber. It is your life. Though I must admit the ivory handle you've selected is quite the piece. You said it was your mother's? Yes, it shattered in a fight with a hidden cloud kunoichi near the end of the last war. She never repaired it. Father allowed me to have it when I explained to him what I would use it for. He seemed to be happy about it. Hanabi cradled the handle to Hitomi Hyuga's katana. The blade had been removed and the wrappings undone. Now it sat with the casing, focusing lens, energy emitter, and power supply, waiting for the crystal, along with Jace's instructions on how to proceed. Though Hanabi could sense that her master would test her before allowing her to construct her lightsaber. That, and she hadn't actually gotten any instruction in using the Force yet. Master, when am I going to be taught how to use the Force? I will teach you only the basics in the time we are in the Hidden Sand. You must learn the more advanced set through a series of trials that I, with the help of some Sith acolytes, will further your training. I sent them ahead to inform the Kazekage what we intend to do there. He was most eager to help one of Naruto's future wives train her apprentice, Jasa explained. Hanabi started to look nervous. Calm yourself, Hanabi. The trials, while difficult, will not harm you. However, if this had been Darth Barish or one of the overseers of the Sith Academy, they would have thrown you to the wolves and made you fight or die. To them, if you are weak you will die forgotten. If you are strong, then you would move on to your next task. The Sith sounds ruthless and evil, Hanabi whispered. Yes, they are, but the ones on this planet follow the teachings of Revan. He believed you must be firm-handed of your apprentice, but allow them to make mistakes. It is the only way you learn and grow stronger, Jasa explained. Naruto got the former in instruction. Overseer Tremel and Darth Barish pushed Naruto when he first arrived on Korriban, as I was told. The trials he faced were grueling, designed to kill the weakest. 6 acolytes were with Naruto when he arrived. Only one was left when Naruto received his lightsaber. Hanabi shuddered. I won't fail you, master. Darth Fade smiled softly. I have my utmost faith in you, my apprentice. I know you will do everything you can. With Konohamaru, the Konohamaru Corps. A dubious title for the grandchildren of the third Hokage and his 2 teammates. It was also infamous in the academy because they followed their idol in the ways of pranks, making Irika's life absolutely miserable. All three had hoped Naruto would make Chunin during the exams before the invasion and hopefully make Jonin before they graduated so he could take them on full-time as his students. Alas, their boss vanished for 3 years and they got stuck with Ebisu. However, after a while the closet pervert grew on them to a point that they accepted him as their sensei grudgingly. When he sacrificed himself to save them from those hidden stone missing nin, the three felt bad not acknowledging him more. The trio sat around the training ground waiting for their new sensei, determined to give the person a bad time. What they saw was Naruto walking up dressed differently, no orange, wearing a mixture of armor and robes, with a Jonin vest dyed black underneath his cloak. "Hey guys, long time no see," Naruto smiled. All three jumped to their feet and ran up to him. "Wow boss, what's with the get-up?" Udon asked, sniffling. "These are Sith armored robes. I kind of went out to the stars and met a lot of cool and scary people. Even got a cool title, I'm now Darth Wrath." Moegi giggled watching Naruto make a funny face. "So I heard about Ebisu, sorry about what happened." The three smiled sadly. "Now suppose you guys can tell me where I can find Team 3, I'm their new Jonin sensei." Konohamaru and the other two's eyes widened in surprise before their smiles exploded onto their faces. "Why, you're going to be our sensei boss?" "Oh yeah, and I don't know if you've been slacking off or not, but I'm going to whip your asses into shape. I want you to put the fear of Kami into that stupid cat Tora," Naruto stated. All three pairs of eyes wrapped with attention. Kushina entered the office of the Hokage and noticed her son was standing quietly looking out at the village. His face was lost in thought. "Naruto?" "Hey mom," Naruto whispered sadly. "Just got word from Shizune this morning, Tsunade passed away." Kushina closed her eyes, tears slowly falling so she did not see her son walk up to her and pull her into an embrace. But she didn't tense, instead quietly put her arms around him, both quietly sharing the grief of losing someone they both cared for. "She'll be missed. When will the funeral take place?" the red-haired woman asked, wiping her tears away. "This weekend, Shizune is setting things up. I asked her if she needed any help from Sakura or Ino, she politely declined." Naruto sighed, wiping his own tears, walking around to sit at his desk. "Your team should be back by then." Kushina nodded, then giggled. "It is interesting to have a Jonin team made up of entirely my grandchildren." Kushina's Jonin team consisted of Jace's son and Sakura's son and daughter. Merrick Uzumaki was much like his mother, stoic, powerful in the force, but had his father's spirit, ability for pranks, as well as his ability to inspire. His teammates, also his two half-siblings, were Ryoko Uzumaki and Minato Uzumaki, one named after his grandfather. As such, he felt it was only right to aim for the Hokage chair. He was pretty much the spitting image of his grandfather too, minus the jade green eyes. Ryoko looked more like the typical Uzumaki, only instead of smooth red hair she had spiky red hair, and blue eyes like her father. Minato was pretty much a clone of his father in personality, though he did have his mother's intelligence. Ryoko inherited her clan's and mother's fiery temper, but Ryoko also took up her Aunt Vet's snarky attitude. Naruto chuckled, remembering watching his children's faces when they found out who their Jonin sensei was. Flashback: Merrick sat next to his two half-siblings meditating like his mother taught him. Or he at least tried. The twins were being their usual mischievous selves. Granted, he enjoyed a good prank as much as the next Uzumaki, but there was always a time and place for it. Do not set a bad example like father did with his Jonin sensei. Please. Pervy Kakashi was laid back. Heck, Dad didn't even receive any major training from him at all, Ryoko stated. Ryoko looked very vulpine with almost fox-like eyes, and nearly pointy ears. Out of all the children Naruto had with his 3 wives, she was the only one that the most fox-like traits, and turns out had the most chakra, so much so her father taught her the shadow clone jutsu just to help her pass her exams, as like her father her chakra control sucked. Her younger brother by a second had the same amount of chakra, but he had inherited their mother's near-perfect control. This proved that chakra control can be inherited and not simply just learned. Still, it annoyed the red-haired girl that her brother had massive amounts of chakra and could perform the standard clone jutsu with no problems. "So who do you think will be our Jonin sensei?" "Maybe it'll be Darth Peerless, my mother's former apprentice," Merrick suggested. Minato raised an eyebrow. "What, so we can watch you drool every day? You know she's married, right, and 20-something years older than you." "I can dream," Merrick shouted, his face turning red. Snickering, Ryoko patted her half-brother's shoulder. "I heard she took on your sister as an apprentice, so you blow that theory out the water, bro." Merrick blinked, thinking of Satel Bastilla Uzumaki, named after the Jedi Grandmaster and her ancestor. His older sister had shown promise in the Force and he hoped she'd do well. With a sigh, the dark-haired boy grumbled, "I so wanted Hanabi to be our sensei. Should I go ask her then?" All three siblings turned to see their grandmother walk into the room, dressed in her Jonin uniform, smirking at them. Ryoko reacted first, jumping over the desks and glomping her grandmother in affection. "Grandma, what are you doing here?" she asked, a happy smile on her face. She missed the fox-like grin spreading over the old red-haired woman, missing the looks of dread forming on the faces of her siblings. "Why, I'm your Jonin sensei, Ryoko-chan," she replied. Minato and Merrick both whimpered, hearing horror stories about their grandmother's training methods. While Ryoko, true to her father, embraced it. "Will you teach me seals, Grandma-sensei?" Ryoko asked. Oh, and Kenjutsu?" Kushina giggled. "Oh my, so energetic. Okay, if you can pass my test I'll teach you." So what's your test, Kushina-sensei?" Merrick asked. Kushina's smile morphed into an evil smile. "I have on good authority that Jiraiya is back in the village, no doubt peeking on the hot springs. So your test is to prank the old pervert, and not get caught." The three Uzumaki children turned to each other, sporting eerily similar grins as their grandmother. It would be a day long remember as the worst pranking spree on record, and all done on one person. End flashback. Kushina had never been more proud to train her grandchildren after the hell they stirred up on the old pervert. Team Kushina had become infamous not only for completing mission after mission but pulling some of the most devastating pranks ever. As it was, the three were now Chunin taking on B&A ranked missions. "They're going to be devastated when they find out about Tsunade," Kushina said softly. "I know, she was as much a grandmother to them as you are," Naruto said softly. "I'm retiring in 10 years. You'll be 46, Naruto, are you sure?" Kushina asked. "Yeah, 40 years as Hokage is enough. I feel obligated to let Konohamaru become Hokage at least for 20. He already planned to let Minato succeed him," Naruto chuckled sadly. I want to spend my retirement years with Vet-chan, Jasa-chan, and Sakura-chan. The Uzumaki longevity thing is both a blessing and a curse, especially if you marry outside the clan. I'll look like I'm in my 40s when I enter my 90s. You barely look like you've aged since I was in my 20s, Mom." Kushina nodded grimly. "Yes, it's not the aspect of our bloodline I like any more than you do, my son. I'm going to have to watch my 3 beloved daughters-in-law pass on and watch my own grandchildren reach their late 30s before I finally pass on." Mito Obasan lasted the longest before she passed away. Makes me wonder why Tsunade died so early. Her alcohol abuse and the use of a regenerator jutsu just saved me from Orochimaru when I was 13, shortened her lifespan considerably. She had no regrets though. Shizune caught her whispering to her brother and Dan, the night before, in that semi-delirious state. They were simply calling her to become one with the Force is all. Naruto sipped his tea. Whirlpool City has already begun commissioning a statue in her honor. As a member of both the Uzumaki and Senju clans, she will hold a place in the Uzumaki shrine there. Standing alongside her grandparents, her brother, your father, and the countless Uzumaki that died in the Second War, it's a very suitable honor for her and her contributions. Kushina smiled sadly. Naruto nodded. "We can only hope that future generations remember the tragedies of the past to not doom themselves to repeat it." 3,500 years later, Hera Syndulla grumbled, tossing her Hydra spanner on the ground, glaring at the communications array for the Ghost. She was currently alone on the ship as the others had gone off to get supplies, so she had taken the time to tweak the array to boost the range. As such, her best-laid plan hit a snag. Trying to boost signal IC, you need to reinforce the signal amplifier before bumping up the power. Hera jumped, spinning around, drawing her blaster in one swift motion, spotting a man dressed in a long orange and black flamed cloak, black flak jacket, gray pants, and carrying 2 lightsabers clipped to his belt. He had spiky blonde hair, the bluest eyes she ever seen before, and 6 whisker marks on his cheek, 3 on each side of his face. He smirked slightly. "If you want to blast the bulkhead behind me, go ahead." Now realizing what she was seeing was in fact a Force spirit, the strange thing was he wasn't appearing in front of canon. "I thought Force Ghost only appear to Jedi?" "True for the most part, or we appear to those that we have a familiar connection to. In this case it's the latter. You see, Hera, I am your ancestor. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I lived about 3,500 years ago on a planet called Shinobi Prime. Not very original, mind you, but there you go." Hera sat down stunned. Her ancestor had been a Jedi and human to boot. "How is that possible?" "Ved was your great-grandmother's name. You can probably even find her in the current Imperial database if you know where to look. Sith rarely erase information involving members of the bloodline, simply hide it away," Naruto explained. "Sith, you're a Dark Lord of the Sith." Hera felt a cold shiver go down her spine. "Sith, yes. Dark Lord, hardly. I come from a planet that worshipped the teachings of a Jedi and Sith by the name of Revan. I'm pretty sure your canon could tell you about him." Revan believed in the balance of the Force, Naruto explained. Hera let out a deep breath. Kanon had told her of the prophecy that went to shit when Anakin Skywalker fell to the dark side. So the prophecy about bringing balance to the Force is, Hera asked, was started by us. However, both Jedi and Sith got the prophecy wrong. One believe it should be washed in the light, the other believes they should leave in darkness. This is not the case. Balance means maintaining both. The Force has been trying to keep balance since the founding of the Jedi Order 5,000 years ago. Naruto stated, watching Hera's eyes as it dawned on her what he said. So what do you want from me, aside giving me a history lesson? Hera asked, mildly annoyed. Naruto chuckled. I can see much of that in you, Hera. She would be very proud. What I ask from you is, once the rebellion is complete and things calm down, come to Shinobi Prime and see us, your ancestors. That is all I ask. Hera blinked. That's it. What's the catch? The catch is you say we'll be meeting two members of your family that currently are scattered. Both are descended from my family line, but born from different mothers. I'll explain more in detail when the time comes. The first will be Galen Malik. He's currently studying under Darth Vader as a secret apprentice. Before you get worried, he will be betrayed by Vader and find his way into light. The next will be Mara Jade. She is currently being groomed as one of the Emperor's hands. Again, do not worry, she will be freed from that life in 10 years. Hera nods, frowning slightly. You've noticed the common trend among your siblings, as it were. Both surrounded by the dark side, yet they will overcome it. It was how I started out. I was surrounded by fear and hate, but rose above it. Naruto smiled softly. It's what the Uzumaki do. We rise above the challenges in our path. I know you will do the same, Hera, because I believe in you, my daughter. Hera watched the spirit slowly fade, wiping the tears from her eyes, even as they continued to roll. She then turned to the communications array and did what Naruto suggested and smiled. Well, I'll be 35 years after Roach Planet Shinobi Prime. Hera groaned, popping her back. Old age did not agree with the green-skinned Twi'lek, slowly walking out of the ghost onto the landing platform overlooking the ancient Whirlpool Village ruins. Looking down, she instantly felt the connection. The ancient village. Kanon had agreed to let her do this alone, with some minor protests from Ezra. The young practically considered her a surrogate mother, which warmed her heart. Shinobi Prime was a beautiful planet, broken up into many city-states, hidden stone, mist, cloud, sand, and leaf. The Shinobi way of life, though, had changed only slightly, as the technology and the ability to leave planet grew. However, it had successfully stayed neutral and off the radar for the last 3,000 years, almost as if the Force itself was protecting it. Heck, Kanon had been surprised to find it in the planetary database after the reconstruction of the Jedi Temple had been completed. The green-skinned Twi'lek walked through the bustling city, noting the Uzumaki clan swirl adorning every surface of every major building. She even managed to touch one and almost came to tears. She didn't know why, but she almost felt drawn to a massive building at the center of the city. Kanon would have told her it was the Force guiding her. Inside, she found a vast array of marble statues, of men and women. It was awe-inspiring to look at. Her gaze, however, settled on four at the center of the large room, and was stunned. One of the people immortalized in marble was a Twi'lek. Walking in a hurried fashion, she came to stand in front of the statue and looked down at the inscription. Vet Uzumaki, loving mother, wife, and constant companion. Helped establish the merchant off-world trade with Kazashi Haruno. Hera looked up at frozen image of the woman and could see several traits she inherited from this woman. Interesting, wouldn't you say? Hera turned to see a man dressed in Jedi robes, accompanied by a blonde woman. Standing not far from him was a red-haired woman looking up at statues. Did Naruto visit you too? Hera asked. The red-haired woman nodded, blushing slightly, looking up at the sole shinobi-looking woman of the four statues. Mara Jade Skywalker. Galen Malik, the man stated. My wife Juno, he introduced the blonde. Hera Syndulla, guess I'm the oldest, the green-skinned Twi'lek stated. Welcome to your roots, Galen, Mara, Hera, and nice to meet you to Juno. The three looked up to see Naruto Uzumaki float down to stand on the pedestal in front of his own statue. It has been a hard road for the four of you, many regrets, many triumphs, and much anguish. There is so much I want to tell you, and yet I know I have only so much time. Your great-grandmothers will kill me if I don't get back to them. Naruto chuckled. What do you want to tell us? Mara asked. Your husband Luke has been looking for some place new to establish the Jedi Order. Yavin is forever tainted because of Exar Kun. I have such a place for him. It is here, or rather in Hidden Leaf City. Training Ground 44 would be the perfect place, and already has a place to live. But it is up to him to accept it. He paused, frowning slightly. And Mara, watch your apprentice. He is falling toward the darkness by keeping secrets from his parents, and I see him killing you in a year, completing the fall. like his grandfather. Mara's eyes widening at this before nodding, having sensed Jason's mood over the course of time. Naruto shifted his gaze to Galen. Jace's great-grandson, you had been bathed in both light and dark, represent the truth in Revan's teachings, that light and dark can be balanced in one person. Jace would be extremely proud of you, as I know I am. Continue what you are doing. Galen nodded, a faint smile tracing his features. Naruto finally focused on Hera. You and Kanon did more than your fair share to help end Sidious's rule, and for that I am thankful. Hera nodded. Naruto's eyes softened considerably. You are all Uzumaki, you have determination, you fight to protect those precious to you, and when your time in this universe ends and you become one with the Force, your family will be there to greet you with hugs and praise. Until then, may the Force be with you. Naruto faded and the three descendants stood looking at the huge marble statue. Naruto Uzumaki, loving father, husband, leader. Embracing the teachings of Revan, strived to obtain peace in the elemental nations and accomplished it. May the will of fire forever burn in hearts of the people.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.